The SPLICERS RPG game by Carmen Belair and Kevin Sembieta. Starting from page 169 of the character creation. Step 1. Determining the 8 attributes and attribute bonuses. All characters have 8 prime attributes, 3 mental, 5 physical. Attribute numbers are used to evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of your character. For example, a physical prowess value is how smooth and agile a character may be, especially in combat. A physical prowess rating of 4 indicates that the character is pretty clumsy. A physical prowess between 8 and 11 indicates the character is fairly average. A physical prowess of 16 or higher indicates a character with exceptional agility and reflexes. Note, attributes are also called statistics or stats. The first step in creating a character is to roll dice to determine the 8 attributes: IQ, mental endurance, mental affinity, physical strength, physical prowess, physical endurance, physical beauty, and speed. These represent your character's natural, mental, and physical abilities. Some of the physical skills and special abilities from an occupation may provide bonuses to increase a character's attributes, so it's important to write the number down and probably in pencil until all modifiers and bonuses are accounted for in your character. 3 6-sided dice are rolled to determine each attribute. The higher the number, the greater the ability. Start with IQ and work your way through the rest of the traits. Being exceptional right off the bat. If an initial attribute roll is 16, 17, or 18, that attribute is considered exceptional, and 1 additional 6-sided die will be rolled to give a bonus, resulting in a number that will be added to the total attribute. If another 6 is rolled, which is a rarity, you will roll yet again 1 more 6-sided dice for that attribute. This bonus die is only rolled during the initial attribute generation and does not apply to attributes raised to the value of 16 or higher. Occupational character classes, genetic augmentation, mutation, or special abilities. Many of the physical skills provide the character with attribute bonuses that help them in performance of skills, combat, and life. For example, wrestling can offer a +2 to physical strength and physical prowess. So if the player has already rolled a total of 15 for physical strength, he adds another 2 points for a total of 17. If his physical endurance was 8, and he would add +2 to raise it to 10. All physical skill point bonuses are cumulative. The 8 attributes. Intelligence quotient. A common number, IQ. It indicates the character's intelligence. The exact IQ is equal to the IQ attribute multiplied times 10. Characters with an IQ of 16 rating or better receive a one-time bonus to all skill percentages, including secondary skills. Mental endurance measures the amount of mental and physical stress a character can withstand. Mental affinity shows the character's personal charm and charisma. Natural leader with a mental affinity of 16 or higher have a bonus, and with the ability to trust or to invoke trust or intimidation in others. A person with a high mental affinity may appear trustworthy to some, but may also be intimidating to others. This may depend on the nature of the character himself or the circumstances of the situation. As a player's option, a character with a high mental affinity may choose to only be one or the other to others, trustworthy or intimidating. This explains how your friendly neighborhood ice cream man and some knife-wielding thug might both have a high mental affinity, but it's used in a completely different context. Physical strength is the raw physical power of a character. Any character with a physical strength of 16 or better receives a bonus to structural damage capacity damage in hand-to-hand combat. Physical prowess shows the degree of dexterity and agility of the character. A physical prowess of 16 or higher is rewarded with bonuses to dodge, parry, and strike. Physical endurance demonstrates the character's stamina and durability. The amount of physical punishment and resistance to fatigue, disease, and poison, and magic also are determined by physical endurance. Characters with a physical endurance of 16 or higher receive bonuses to save versus coma or death, as well as poisons and toxins. Physical beauty is an indication of the physical attractiveness of the character. A physical beauty of 16 or better will be rewarded with a bonus to charm or impress. Speed. This is how fast the character can run. The character's speed times 20 is the number of yards or meters he can run in 1 minute. Speed times 5 is the number of yards, meters covered in a melee round, which lasts for 15 seconds. Dividing the distance covered in a melee round by the character's number of attacks indicates how far he can move on each attack. A note about bonuses. Many skills and abilities provide characters with bonuses to strike, parry, dodge, save, etc. These bonuses are typically added to a particular combat or melee action. Always be sure to include the character's bonuses since they may make the difference between life or death or worse. Attributes that are beyond 30. Intelligence. Bonuses stop on the chart at 30, but the bonuses will continue. IQ bonus beyond 30. You will receive +2 for every additional IQ points. For every 5 additional IQ points, you will receive a +2. So, for example, an IQ of 35 will receive 18%, 40, 20, 45, 20%, 50, 24%, 55, 26%, 60, 28%, and so on. Moreover, characters with an IQ greater than 30 points have sharp memory, tend to notice details, and are more likely to see through illusions. This translates into the following. Bonuses of saving. Save versus illusion. An IQ of 30 to 33 will receive a +1 on saves versus illusion. 34 to 36, +2. 37 to 39, +3. 40 to 42, +4. 43 to 45, +5. 46 to 48, +6. 49 or higher, +7. Mental affinity. Any number beyond 30 means a dynamic, charismatic person with a commanding and or delightful presence. When a character enters the room, most people take notice. The individual can be very persuasive in a charming or intimidating way, depending on the situation or how the character is generated. Mental affinity of more than 30 provides select bonuses. 5% to seduction, gambling, fine contraband, and intelligence. Gathering skills, 10% to interrogation and performance. Mental endurance tops out at 30. Bonuses do not increase should the character have a higher number than 30. The only exception might be a god. But for those rare individuals, demigods, godlings, demon lords, and other supernatural beings who might hit 30, a mental affinity, or a mental endurance of 30 or beyond, they get a bonus to save versus possession of all kinds. Saving versus possession will increase at 30. At a score of 30, they will receive a +1, 40 +2, 50 +3, 60 +4, and so on. Ordinary human physical strength. The higher the number, the stronger the character and the more damage done with his punches, as indicated in the standard table. This strength applies to ordinary mortal men and women, so the damage is always hit points, structural damage, or structural damage capacity damage, even if it is beyond a physical strength of 30 or 40. Note, physical strength damage bonuses are always added to the physical damage done by melee weapons, such as clubs, maces, knives, swords, and spears, but do not apply to arrows and guns. Damage bonus continues. +1 point of hit point damage, structural damage, capacity damage per digit beyond 30. Thus, a character with a physical strength of 31 does +16 physical damage. 32 does +17. A physical strength of 40 does +25, and so on. Throwing bonus. For every 5 points above 30, round down, the character can hurl a rock, ball, or throwing weapon, dagger, spear, sling, etc., or shoot an arrow an extra 30 feet, 9.1 meters, without losing accuracy. No penalties for greater distances. Lifting and carrying bonuses. For every 5 points above 30, the stronger character can lift 30% more than usual. Physical prowess. The bonus to strike, parry, and dodge stops at 30. Initiative bonus. However, for every 3 physical prowess points beyond 30, the character gets a bonus on his initiative roll. Physical prowess between 30 and 31 receives a +1 on initiative. Between 34 and 36, +2. A physical prowess of 37 to 39, +3. 40 to 42, +4. 43 to 45, +5. 46 and higher, +6. Physical endurance. The bonus gives a bonus to save versus poison in magic, but this bonus stops at 30 physical endurance points. Save versus coma and death. However, the percentage to save versus coma continues at an increment of 1 point per each individual point beyond 30%. Thus, physical endurance of 31 provides a 31% chance to save versus coma, 32% chance, and so on. Additionally, a character with a physical endurance of 30 or higher fatigues at half the normal rate. Impervious to disease. Additionally, any character with a physical endurance of 30 or higher is effectively impervious to most disease. Only the most virulent virus or designer bug has a chance of affecting this character. Physical beauty. Any number beyond 30 is divine perfection, a beauty beyond compare, angelic in nature. Physical beauty of more than 30 provides select skill bonuses. +5 to card shark, concealment, palming, pickpockets, or performance skills. Observers are distracted or add beauty as an element, don't notice trickery or flaws in performance. +13 to seduction. Penalty. A negative 10% to prowling, but also a negative 10% to prowling and being seen. Speed. Speed indicates the rate of just raw speed at which a character can run or fly. Most ordinary humans will never exceed a rate speed of 30. However, splicers, war mounts, robots, and drones, and many other can achieve mind-boggling running speeds. The speed chart continues on and on, with lists of speed of 293 or 200 miles per hour being very possible for higher-level, advanced, or enhanced creatures. Running fast is its own reward and ability and receives no additional bonuses. Splicer and robot strength and damage. Splicers are the human heroes who have developed living, organic power armor that gives the wearer a robotic level of superhuman strength. This makes them as strong as the robots they battle. The robots also have a mechanical strength that supersedes ordinary levels of human strength. This means that robots and host armor deliver mega damage, can deliver mega damage attacks with their punches and kicks, as well as their other weapons. Exactly how much mega damage depends upon their robot physical strength, depends upon what is called a robot physical strength rating. Only supernatural physical strength, a rarity for war mounts and a few others, is more powerful. Robots with a physical strength of 18 plus can lift and carry 25 times their physical strength attribute. Thus, a robot with a physical strength rating of 40 can lift and carry 1,000 pounds, 450 kilograms, because 25 times 40 is 1,000. Robot physical strength below 18 is simply equivalent to a normal human strength for the purposes of correlating or of determination for the purposes of lifting, pulling, and pushing. Physical strength times 10 in the number of pounds, not times 25. Robot physical strength of 15 or less inflicts a robot physical strength of 15 or less inflicts 1d6 of structural damage capacity damage on a restrained punch, 2d6 structural damage capacity damage on a full strength punch. So, to repeat, a robot of physical strength 15 inflicts a 1d6 structural damage capacity on a restrained punch, a 2d6 structural damage capacity on a full strength punch, and a 4d structural damage capacity on a power punch, which will count as 2 melee attacks. Physical strength bonuses are added to structural damage capacity attacks. Kicks do 2d6 structural damage capacities. Leap kicks 3 structural damage capacities. Structural damage capacities. These robots are roughly equal to a human. Mega damage capacity attacks are not possible for robots of a rating of physical strength of 15 or less. Robots of physical strength 16 to 20 inflict 2d6 structural damage capacity on restrained punches, 1 mega damage point on a full strength punch, and 1d6 mega damage on a full punch, which will count as 2 melee attacks. Physical strength bonuses are added to structural damage capacity attacks. Kicks do a 1d4 mega damage, and leap kicks a 2d4 mega damage. Robots of physical strength between 21 and 25 inflict 6d6 structural damage capacity on a restrained punch, 1d4 mega damage on a full strength punch, 2d4 mega damage on a power punch, which will count as 2 melee attacks. Kicks do a 1d6 mega damage, and leap kicks do a 2d4 mega damage, counting as 2 separate melee attacks. Robot physical strength between 26 and 30 inflicts 1d4 mega damage on a restrained punch, 1d6 on a full strength punch, 2d6 mega damage on a power punch, which counts as 2 melee attacks. Kicks do 1d4 mega damage, and leap kicks 2d8 mega damage, counts as 2 melee attacks as well. Robot with a physical strength between 31 and 35 inflicts 1d4 mega damage on a restrained punch, 1d6 mega damage on a full strength punch, 4d4 mega damage on a power punch, which counts as 2 melee attacks. Kicks do 2d8 mega damage, and leap kicks will do 4d8 mega damage, counting as 2 melee attacks as well. Robots with physical strength between 36 and 40 inflicts 1d4 mega damage on a restrained punch, 2d6 mega damage on a full strength punch, 4d6 mega damage on a power punch, counts as 2 melee attacks. Kicks do 3d8 mega damage, and leap kicks will do 5d8 mega damage, counting as 2 melee attacks. Robots with a physical strength between 41 and 50 inflicts 1d6 mega damage on a restrained punch, 3d6 mega damage on a full strength punch, 1d6 times 10 mega damage on a power punch, which counts as 2 melee attacks. Kicks do 5d8 mega damage, and leap kicks will do 1d8 times 10 mega damage, counts as 2 melee attacks. Robots with physical strength between 51 and 60 will inflict 2d6 mega damage on a restrained punch, 6d6 mega damage on a full strength punch, and 2d6 times 10 mega damage on a power punch, which counts as 2 melee attacks. Kicks do 6d8 mega damage, and leap kicks will do 2d6 times 10 mega damage, counting as 2 melee attacks. Notes: there are many different design and mechanical elements for every robot and suit of living host armor, so there is a great deal of variation from one design to another. Some may have features that make particular robots stronger or weaker than the above table suggests. The general rules above apply to the overwhelming majority of cases, but in the case of robots there may be exceptions to the rules depending on the robot's purpose, size, weight, special hydraulics that may punch or kick like a pile driver, and so on. Number 2, special combat moves like ram, block, or body block, and flying kick will usually indicate the damage and penalties inflicted upon one's adversary in the robot's description. In the rare instance that it does not, figure that the attack inflicts the same mega damage as a full strength punch and has a 0 to 35% chance of knocking an opponent down. If knocked down, the victim loses initiative and 2 melee attacks. Stomp attacks are applicable only to robots that are large. Unless the robot is truly gigantic, the attack seldom inflicts more than one-third his robot physical strength punch damage. The category is robot physical strength for this. Tear or pry attacks are possible only if the robot has limbs suitable for that purpose. Punch attacks usually deliver half the damage of a full-strength punch. Power punch notes. 1. A power punch is a roundhouse punch in which the character winds up and punches with all of his might. In all cases, the power punch attack counts as 2 melee attacks or actions, whether the punch strikes or not. The player must announce that he is trying a power punch or kick before he rolls to strike. 2. A power bite is not usually possible. The only exceptions may be select robots and beings with a supernatural physical strength, and such exceptions are always noted in the character's statistics. Likewise, a power headbutt, elbow, knee, throw, flip, body block, or ram is not possible except as noted in the character's specific statistics. Number 3. In all cases, a power punch, kick, or attack counts as 2 melee attacks actions. Supernatural physical strength. Most structural damage capacity and hit point beings, whether human, monster, or otherwise, will inflict hit points or structural damage capacity damage even when they have an incredible strength of 30 or higher. Splicers will inflict robot physical strength damage, only because of the host armor that they wear. On the other hand, even scrawny supernatural beings like the Scarecrow inflict mega damage. One might wonder why a strong human inflicts structural damage capacity damage, while these others, with seemingly equivalent physical strength, inflict mega damage. The answer is simple. Whether a being inflicts structural damage capacity damage or mega damage depends upon the nature of the creature in question. Simply put, supernatural beings and creatures of magic are not human. They are something else, creatures that defy the laws of physics and which are more than human. Their supernatural aspect gives them mega damage strength, endurance, and in many instances makes them natural mega damage capacity creatures, such as flesh. Their flesh is like mega damage steel. Thus, in addition to their incredible supernatural strength, they usually have bodies with skin that is like unto armor of a tank, are impervious or resistant to ordinary cold, heat, and fire, impervious to disease, and heal much more quickly, and practically regenerate damage and heal before one's very eyes. Because they are not human. And it is because they're not human. Note, in the structural damage capacity environment, these beings become hit points structural damage capacity creatures, though usually with superhuman amounts of hit points and structural damage capacity with them. Statistics. Supernatural physical strength of 15 or less only inflicts 1d6 structural damage capacity on a restrained punch, 4d6 structural damage capacity on a full strength punch, and 1d4 mega damage on a power punch, which counts as 2 melee attacks, or a leap kick, which counts as 2 melee attacks. Physical strength bonuses are added to the structural damage capacity attacks. Once again, this applies when the supernatural physical strength is 15 or less. Now, supernatural physical strength for creatures between 16 and 20 inflicts 3d6 structural damage capacity on a restrained punch, 1d6 mega damage on a full strength punch or kick, and 2d6 mega damage on a power punch or leap kick. Both count as 2 melee attacks. Physical strength bonuses are added to structural damage capacity attacks. Supernatural physical strength between 21 and 25 inflicts 4d6 structural damage capacity on a restrained punch, 2d6 mega damage on a full strength punch or kick, and 4d6 mega damage on a power punch or leap kick, which counts as 2 melee attacks. Physical strength bonuses are added to the structural damage capacity attacks. Supernatural physical strength between 26 and 30 inflicts 5d6 structural damage capacity on a restrained punch, 3d6 mega damage on a full strength punch or kick, and 6d6 mega damage on a power punch or leap kick, which counts as 2 melee attacks. Physical strength bonuses are added to structural damage capacity attacks. Supernatural physical strength between 31 and 35 inflicts 5d6 structural damage capacity on a restrained punch, 4d6 mega damage on a full strength punch or kick, and 1d4 times 10 mega damage on a power punch or leap kick, counts as 2 melee attacks. Physical strength bonuses are added only to structural damage capacity attacks. Supernatural physical strength between 36 and 40 inflicts 6d6 structural damage capacity on restrained punches, 5d6 mega damage on a full strength punch or kick, and 1d6 times 10 mega damage on a power punch or leap kick, counts as 2 melee attacks. Physical strength bonuses are added only to structural damage capacity attacks. Supernatural physical strength of 41 to 50 inflicts 1d6 times 10 structural damage capacity on a restrained punch, 6d6 mega damage on a full strength punch or kick, and 2d4 times 10 mega damage on a power punch or leap kick, counts as 2 melee attacks. Physical strength bonuses are added only to structural damage capacity attacks. Supernatural physical strength between 51 and 60 inflicts 1d6 mega damage on a restrained punch, 1d6 times 10 on a full strength punch, or 2d6 times 10 on a power punch or leap kick, counting as 2 melee attacks. Note, some supernatural creatures will have a greater or weaker damage than the above tables provide. These are exceptions to the general rule and will be evident in the descriptions of the specific creatures. Biting attacks typically inflict half the mega damage of a punch unless the maw is especially large or powerful. Then a bite could inflict the same damage or more. Tails and tentacles frequently inflict half to the same amount of damage, mega damage, as a punch. Power punches are usually not possible with a tail, but are possible with a tentacle. Kicks usually inflict the same mega damage as a punch, but in some cases a kick may inflict 1d6 more mega damage. Supernatural damage and hand weapons. When wielding a hand weapon, such as a sword, clubs, and knives, a supernatural being inflicts either the weapon's damage or its basic hand-to-hand combat damage. See previous table, whichever is greater. Optional rule. Normal weapons are in danger of breaking when wielded by someone with supernatural strength. A good rule of thumb is to assume a weapon is in danger of breaking whenever total damage inflicted exceeds more than 3 times the weapon's maximum base damage. In the case of a 2d4 sword, more than 24 points of damage might break it. Every time that much damage is inflicted, there is a 1 to 30% chance that the weapon will break as well. Heavy, sturdy weapons and very well-crafted blades, such as a master-smith katana, can withstand more damage, so do not roll unless damage exceeds 5 times the weapon's maximum damage in these cases. Magical weapons and artifacts are basically indestructible and are at no risk of being broken. Weight and movement. Normal characters with a physical strength of 3 to 16 can carry 10 times their physical strength in pounds. That is to say, physical strength is multiplied by 10 to equal the total number of pounds one can carry. For example, a character with a physical strength rating of 9 can carry 90 pounds, 40.5 kilograms, that is. A character with a physical strength of 15 can carry 150 pounds, 67.5 kilograms. Strong characters with a physical strength of 17 or higher can carry 20 times their physical strength in pounds. This means a character with a physical strength of 18 can carry 360 pounds, or 162 kilograms. Supernatural creatures, such as the Scarecrow, Proto-Host Armor, or War Mounts, are even stronger than robots, and those with a supernatural physical strength of 18 or higher can carry 50 times their physical strength. Thus, a creature with a physical strength of 24 can actually carry over half a ton, 1,200 pounds, 540 kilograms. Creatures with a strength of 17 or less are equal to humans. They can have a physical strength times 10 in pounds. Lifting weight. This is a little different than carrying weight. You may have noticed yourself that you can lift up a heavier amount than you can carry. I'm not talking about weightlifting in the bodybuilding sense of the word, nor lifting a heavy weight above your chest. Simply the ability to bend over and lift something that weighs more than you can carry. The simple rule is that a character can lift twice as much as he or she could carry. This means that a character with a physical strength of 9 can carry 90 pounds, 40.5 kilograms, but can lift 180 pounds, 81 kilograms. Meanwhile, the supernaturally strong creature with a physical strength of 24 can lift over 1 ton, 2,400 pounds. Throwing heavy or awkward objects. A character cannot throw more than he can carry. Add 1 foot, 0.3 meters, to the effective range for every physical strength point listed. That is to say, an example, physical strength of 24 adds 24 feet, 7.3 meters. Objects such as bricks, bottles, and swords are not designed for throwing. Consequently, the effective range is limited regardless of the strength that is behind it. Darts, knives, and throwing axes are designed for throwing, but don't have the weight or balance for great distances. The same is true for most objects weighing less than half a pound. Javelins, more so than spears, are designed for distance throwing. Miscellaneous items weighing over a pound, 0.45 kilograms, and less than 10 pounds, 4.5 kilograms, such as chairs, stools, or lanterns, can be thrown about half as far as the 1 pound object. Normal and extraordinarily strong characters can hurl weight equal to the weight they can carry, 4 inches per each physical strength point. This means that a person with a physical strength of 9 can toss 90 pounds, 40.5 kilograms, up to 3 feet away. The hero with a physical strength of 17 can toss 340 pounds, 153 kilograms, up to 5 feet 6 inches away, 1.67 meters. Supernatural characters can hurl their maximum carrying weight 1 foot, 0.3 meters per physical strength point. So a supernatural character with a physical strength of 24 can hurl an incredibly heavy object up to 1,200 pounds, 540 kilograms, a whopping 24 feet, 7.3 meters. Damage from these heavy thrown objects is 1d6 plus 1d6 structural damage capacity points per every 20 pounds, 9 kilograms. So a 100-pound, 45-kilogram item will inflict 6d6 damage. A 1,000-pound, 450-kilogram object can inflict 6d6 times 10 structural damage capacity, which equals 3 mega damage, 4 if you round up. Step 2. Determine hit points and structural damage capacity. Hit points might be best thought of as life points because they indicate how much physical damage, cuts, bruises, etc. a character can withstand before he or she dies. These are the points that are observed during a battle or melee round to determine how much damage is inflicted on friend or foe. Each time a character is struck by a punch, kick, bullet, or energy blast, he takes some physical damage. Each individual player keeps score of how many hit points his character has by subtracting the damage from his character's hit points each time that character is hit and injured. Likewise, the GM, Game Master, keeps score of how much damage the player inflicts upon his opponent. When a character has 0 hit points, he is in a coma and will soon die without extensive medical help. When a character's hit points have been knocked far below 0, he is dead and beyond saving. Approximately 100 hit points equals 1 mega damage point, which is why mega damage armor must be worn when going up against robots, drones, biotech-enhanced warriors, etc. Determining hit points. 1. Your base hit points. Having rolled up your 8 attributes, you will recall that 1 is called physical endurance. The physical endurance score will indicate your character's base starting amount of hit points. This number means that he or she can lose that many hit points before dying. Some of you will have a character with many hit points, but don't get cocky. A laser machine gun or knife in the right hand can whittle you down to size in a melee round or 2. To those who find themselves with the character who has only a handful of hit points, don't despair or feel cheated. You'll just have to use cleverness and cunning to avoid serious confrontations until you've built up your hit points or structural damage capacity, but more on that later. Number 2, building up your hit points. Before determining your base hit points for the game, you will pick up 1 d6 dice, roll it, and you will add this number to your hit point base given by your physical endurance. This is the total number of starting hit points you will have. As your character grows in knowledge and experience, he will also gain more skill and expertise. At the same time, he will also mature physically, increasing his hit points. Thus, each time a character attains a new experience level, roll 1 6-sided die and add it to the existing hit points. Structural damage capacity. There are 2 types of structural damage capacity. The first applies to living creatures and is a sort of supplement to hit points. The second applies to inanimate, non-living structures such as chairs, locks, doors, buildings, vehicles, body armor, and so on. Determining physical structural damage capacity is simple. Each of the occupational character classes automatically provides a base structural damage capacity rating. Additional physical structural damage capacity, SDC, may be gained from physical skills such as bodybuilding, wrestling, and gymnastics. In this way, you can build and toughen your character as much as you would like. Starting structural damage capacity based on occupational character classes. Average civilian or technicians in the human resistance will receive 1d6 plus 10 as their starting structural damage capacity. Average human resistance fighter will roll, the average human resistance fighter, to repeat again, The average civilian or technician in the human resistance will roll 1d6 plus 10 to determine their structural damage capacity. The average resistance fighter, which is a human resistance fighter, will roll 3d6 and add 20 to that value. 3d6 plus 20. The average human in a retro village will roll 2d6 plus 14. All other characters will have their structural damage capacity indicated under their occupational character class description. When a character is hurt, the damage is first subtracted from his or her structural damage capacity points. The structural damage capacity points damage is painful but not deadly. It is like in an action movie where the hero takes a bullet or a stab and is able to keep fighting as if nothing happened. Later, when the hero tends to his wounds, he just slaps a bandage on them and says something glib, like, "It was just a scratch." This is structural damage capacity in action at a functional level. It is only after all structural damage capacity has been depleted that damage is subtracted from hit points. By comparison, hit point damage is serious and potentially life-threatening. Game masters use common sense with structural damage capacity and hit points. In some situations, diving on a grenade, getting shot in the head at point-blank range, falling from great heights such as 1,000 feet, 305 meters or more, will do damage directly to hit points, skipping structural damage capacity entirely. Structural damage capacity of objects. Inanimate objects such as the walls of buildings, vehicles, furniture, body armor, and so on, will also have structural damage capacity. In this case, the structural damage capacity indicates the total amount of damage that the object can withstand. The structural damage capacity points function exactly like hit points, except that they apply to non-living things. Any damage sustained is subtracted from the structural damage capacity. When the structural damage capacity is reduced to 0, it is broken or smashed beyond repair. Game Master note: the structural damage capacity just described is a standard rule in most Palladium book games. From time to time we hear the complaint, how can somebody be bashing or shooting into a door and the door is in perfect condition until all of its structural damage capacity is depleted? The answer is, it's not in perfect condition. Using the example of the door, the GM should explain exactly what's happening. You bash into a door with your shoulder. It's a very solid door and you inflict minimal damage. Give the structural capacity damage. You realize it will take quite a bit more to gain entry this way and you may hurt yourself. Or you can heal the door, give a little under your great strength. Give the structural damage capacity damage. Another bash to the door's frame cracks and moans, but it still holds through. Give the structural capacity damage. So it will take another couple of attempts as the door's structural capacity damage dwindles, but it's definitely giving. Or your submachine gun riddles the wood door with a dozen holes, something the player can look through, but the door is still locked and holding strong in spite of its damage. The point is, attacks on normal objects will scrape, dent, crack, splinter, crumble, punch holes through it, and so on, even if the object is not destroyed. To smash or destroy something may require multiple attacks, and in some cases, like being locked behind an iron door or a bolt head without a weapon, without the proper tools or suitable special ability, it may be impossible to do damage to them at all. Armor ratings. Armor rating, AR. Note, not often applicable to splicers, so you can probably skip this unless the characters are regularly engaged in structural damage capacity skirmishes. Structural damage capacity, artificial armor, such as bulletproof vests and traditional armor, also have an armor rating, as well as a structural damage capacity. The armor rating indicates exactly how much protection is afforded by the armor or object, and how easily it is penetrated. The higher the AR, the armor rating, the better. If an attack roll to strike with all bonuses is less than the armor rating of the armor absorbs the attack. Subtract the damage from the armor's structural damage capacity. When the armor's structural damage capacity is depleted, it no longer affords protection and is useless. Any further attack will hit the character's body directly. If an attack roll to strike, including all bonuses, is higher than the armor rating, it penetrates the armor and inflicts damage directly to the character's SBC, structural damage capacity, or their hit points. The defender always wins ties, so if the roll is to strike is 16 against somebody with a body armor that has an armor rating of 16, the attack hits the character but damages the body armor because it didn't surpass the armor rating. Protection. However, if that strike roll had been 17 or higher, the attack would have struck an area not covered by the armor or punched right through it, doing damage to the character underneath it. Natural armor. Some forms of armor are vastly superior to simple body armor. Such armors include vehicle armor, cybernetic armor, and natural armor. Natural armor applies to aliens, most supernatural beings, and augmented creatures who have protective skin or an exoskeleton with an armor rating, an exoskeleton that possesses an armor rating. In these cases, a roll to strike that falls under the armor rating does hit, but inflicts no damage. Punches. Natural armor applies to aliens, most supernatural beings, and augmented creatures who have protective skin or an exoskeleton with an armor. To repeat this again. In these cases, a roll to strike that falls under the armor rating does hit, but inflicts no damage. Punches and bullets bounce off harmlessly, lasers are deflected, and combat continues. A roll above the natural armor strikes and inflicts full damage, first to the physical structural damage capacity, and once the structural damage capacity is depleted, then to the character's hit points directly. Recovery of hit points and structural damage capacity. After a battle, characters who have sustained physical damage must tend to their wounds. The attending of wounds can be administered by fellow characters, trained medical personnel, or by oneself, provided the character has a first aid skill and is not physically impaired. First aid skill includes basic and immediate treatment, such as bandaging, the cleaning of wounds, stopping bleeding, and so on, until the character can receive better medical care. This is fine for minor wounds, but serious injuries like internal bleeding and broken bones may require professional treatment or magic immediately. Note, unless the character stops the bleeding of cuts and stab wounds, he will continue to lose blood and suffer damage at the rate of 1 hit point per minute. When all hit points are reduced to 0, the character falls into a coma and hovers near death. Recovery, non-professional treatment. This is basic first aid type treatment by oneself or non-medically trained persons. This type of treatment may be used if the character is not able to seek professional treatment immediately. It is not necessarily inferior treatment, especially for not too serious of an ailment, but just lacks the full facilities and experience of a major medical institution. Rate of recovery. 2 hit points per day, 24 hours, or 4 structural damage capacity per turn. Rate of recovery, structural damage capacity units per turn recovered. Once again, to repeat, the rate of recovery for non-professional treatment is 2 hit points per day, that is a 24-hour period, or 4 structural damage capacity units per day. Recovery, professional treatment. This is a medical treatment from a doctor, clinic, or hospital. The rate of recovery, 2 hit points per day for the first 2 days and 4 for each following day until the character has regained all of his original hit points. Structural damage capacity points are restored at the rate of 6 per day. Surviving coma and death. When a character's hit points are reduced to 0 or less, he collapses and falls into a coma. How much damage below 0 a person can withstand is determined by their physical endurance attribute. A character can take 1 point of damage below 0 to -1, 2, 3 for each physical endurance point. Example, a character with a physical endurance of 9 will lapse into a coma at 0 hit points, but still can live, in theory, up to -9. However, if the character receives more damage, which is very possible, than this physical endurance, he is dead with no hope of recovery. Thus, if a character with physical endurance of 9 takes 10 or more below 0, exceeding their physical endurance, he is beyond medical help and perishes. Note that some special abilities may extend the amount of damage below 0 a character can endure, and in some cases continue to function. The length of time a character in a coma will survive without treatment is again indicated by their physical endurance. Add 1 hour for each physical endurance point. For example, physical endurance of 9. A rating of physical endurance of 9 will give 9 additional hours for which they can be in a coma and under the amount of under the value of 0 for their hit points. Physical endurance of 10 hours, and so on. Whether a character survives the coma and is stabilized, brought back to at least 1 hit point above 0, is determined by the roll of percentile dice. The player rolls 2 successful recovery rolls out of 3. The character breaks out of the coma and is no longer in danger of dying. This also means if he is brought up to 1 hit point above 0. Recovery of the hit points from that time on is standard. See recovery of hit points. Note, this can be attempted every hour until the character dies. Recovery ratio. Roll 2 out of 3. Treatment from unprofessional individuals with medical skills, 1 to 18%. Treatment from an intern or nurse, 1 to 32%. Treatment from a doctor without proper facilities, 1 to 46%. Treatment from a doctor at a clinic, fair facilities, we're getting proper fair facilities, 1 to 56%. Treatment from a hospital, 1 to 66%. Treatment from a major large hospital, 1 to 70%. These recovery ratios, you must roll 2 out of 3 for successful breaking out of a coma and adding back. Step 3, mega damage and mega damage capacity. Mega damage added a new wrinkle and danger to human life in Splicer's setting, because mega damage is the equivalent of superhuman damage, and a single mega damage point can squish a human like a bug or vaporize him as if he had never been there. Mega damage body armor, host armor, living body armor, war mounts, and mega damage bioweapons help to even the playing field for humans in their struggle against the mega damage robots of the machine. But humans and most splicers remain mortal. Hit points, structural damage capacity creatures in most cases. No matter how comfortable a suit of living armor may be, a person has to come out of his mega damage capacity shell sometime. Consequently, hit points and structural damage capacity apply when a Consequently, hit points and structural damage capacity will apply when a character is out of his or her protective armor, going about his business in a resistance haven, or brawling among fellow soldiers in a bar, or other situations where he is likely not to be without his armor. Of course, in the context of our story, this makes the machine's ongoing efforts at exterminating human life that much more lethal, because all the mechanical horrors hunting them are all mega damage capacity structures. Without the human resistance and their biotech, humans would be virtually defenseless, which is how the machine has managed to wipe out so many of humanity already. That stops now with the advent of the age of the splicers. Mega damage capacity is a damage system that may be new to some of you. It is a structural damage capacity that reflects the staggering advancements in science technology, a technology that has created super tough new alloys, micronized and nano-sized circuits, batteries and weapons, and with much more precision and range than anything we can manufacture in the 21st century. Or, in the case of the human resistance, super organic armor and weapons through advances in biotechnology. In both cases, mega damage capacity is a super structural damage capacity that far outstrips the normal structural damage capacity range. Mega damage capacity versus structural damage capacity. Generally, 100 structural damage capacity or mega hit points equal damage. 100 structural damage capacity points equals about 1 mega damage capacity point. This also means that 1 point of mega damage is approximately, but the same thing, 100 structural damage capacity hit points of damage. 3. Most conventional structural damage capacity weapons, ordinary knives, clubs, guns, do absolutely no damage whatsoever to mega damage structures, even when combined for over a total of 100 or more when combined powers are given. The only exception is when a single and probably explosive attack does 100 or more structural damage capacity. In these cases, when explosives are in play, then 1 mega damage capacity can be inflicted for every 100 structural damage capacity points of damage, rounded to the nearest 100. Example, a dreadguard in host armor and 2 foot soldiers in ceramic body armor are on a routine patrol. All are wearing mega damage capacity armor. Suddenly they are attacked by 30 bandits from the retro village. The bandits are armed with old structural damage capacity ceramic caseless weapons, mostly assault rifles and submachine guns. The 2 soldiers in body armor are caught in a hail of bullets. Perhaps as many as 50 rounds hits for a combined amount of structural damage capacity of about 300 points. But the soldiers just stand their ground, all the bullets bouncing off their mega damage capacity armor, mega damage armor. The worst they suffer is a few scratches of dings to their armor. They take no damage. Why? because no one attack bullet inflicted inflicts anywhere near 100 points of structural damage capacity. The noise and smoke and movement may be a bit distracting, but the soldiers are not in danger. 4 bandits jump one of the soldiers before he can react. They pummel him with the butts of their rifles and wooden clubs. The attack succeeds in knocking the soldier down and perhaps pinning him, but there is no physical damage to the body armor nor to the soldier inside, because the fisticuffs and clubs don't inflict mega damage or 100 structural damage capacity in any one single blow. One of the bandits screams a warning and points at the dread guard clad in his menacing-looking organic host armor as he rushes to the aid of his comrades. A few bandits jump into the horses to try to make a run for it, but one of the foot soldiers who was under attack turns, aims at the old communications tower, and fires his mega damage bioenergy pistol. A successful strike is made and damage is inflicted. The roll from the mega damage bioenergy pistol is pitiful. A mere 3 mega damage points is rolled, but the tower is in structural damage capacity structure, and sliced out of its main support beam has just been vaporized, causing the entire structure to collapse, blocking the bandits' riders' easiest avenue of escape. The dread guard leaps over 12-foot, 3.6 meter, that is to say, 3.6 meter wall of debris as if it were an anthill, and he chases down a dozen bandits fleeing on foot. At a modest speed of 50 miles per hour, he'll be in their midst in 10 seconds. He mainly wants to scare them enough so that they'll never come around again. Then two stop, turn, and one aims at what looks to be one of the resistance own weapons at him. The bandit gets an initiative and also rolls a successful strike. The dread guard lets himself get overconfident. He wasn't expecting a mega damage attack, but gets blasted right in the chest at point-blank range by a bioenergy rifle itself. He takes 27 points of mega damage to the main body of his armor, host armor. He is getting annoyed. Before the shooter knows what happened, a pair of tentacles snatches the weapon from his hands. He screams. He and his buddies turn away, still screaming. Combat can continue, but it will be short and one-sided because the Retro Village bandits don't have enough firepower to take on this dread guard. Now that changes when a pair of necrobots and a steel trooper appear from around what is left of a blasted-out building. They are attracted by the commotion and have come to investigate. All 3 of these attackers are mega damage being robots armed with mega damage weapons. Likewise, things might have been different if one or more technojackers armed with robot mega damage weapons were among the bandits or waiting in ambush. In the context of specific Splicers world setting, mega damage applies to 1. All biotech weapons and armor, including host armor, living body armor, wing packs, and other bioengineered equipment are mega damage capacity structures. To repeat, the context of the specific Splicers world setting, mega damage capacity will apply to, let's go to number 2, war mounts and select Splicers occupational character classes, namely the Biotic, Saint, Scarecrow, Skin Job, Technojacker, and mega damage beings with mega damage capacity, skin, and bonuses. And bones. 3. All robots, robot vehicles, and sentry tower and robot weapons and gear are mega damage capacity structures, beings armed with mega damage weaponry. Most robot drones, included Nex androids, labor maintenance drones, necroborgs, and necrobots, are mega damage structure beings. 5. Some of the old military weapons, armor, vehicles, and technology is mega damage, but only the technojacker and the machine can use them without being attacked by the nanobot plague. Some of the pre-machine weapons and armor are not made of metal or metal components and can be safely used by any human. Such weapons, tools, and equipment are highly valued, sought after, and can be salvaged from old police stations and military depots. Combat note. Typically, only a mega damage weapon can harm a mega damage capacity structure. Structural damage capacity missiles and explosives can inflict over 100 structural damage points. Do inflict 1 damage of mega damage. Can inflict a point of mega damage for every 100 structural damage capacity points of damage. This basically applies to explosives. Always round to the nearest 100 structural damage capacity damage as an act of kindness and desperation. For example, a missile that inflicts 440 structural damage capacity equals 4 mega damage, but one that does 479 points of damage capacity will appropriately inflict 5 mega damage points. Mega damage capacity, artificial armor. Throughout the history of humankind, people have developed different kinds of body armor. In days past, the armor would have been structural damage capacity types like bulletproof vests and chainmail. But in the world of splicers and wrists, advanced body armor is made of super strong yet lightweight mega damage material. A variety of mega damage capacity body armor is described in the equipment and host armor sections. Mega damage capacity natural armor. Many biologically engineered beings such as biotic, saint, scarecrow, skin job, and war mouse, as well as supernatural beings and creatures of magic, have bodies or hides that are mega damage capacity structures. Combat note. Typically, only mega damage weapons can harm mega damage capacity structure or being. A mega damage capacity structure or being. Structural damage capacity, missiles, and explosives that can inflict over 100 structural damage capacity points of damage will do 1 point of mega damage for every 100 structural damage capacity points. MDC artificial armor. Throughout the history of humankind, people have developed different forms of body armor. In days past, the armor would have been structural damage capacity armors like bulletproof vests and chainmail. But in the world of splicers and wrists, advanced body armor is usually made of super strong yet lightweight mega damage material. A variety of mega damage capacity body armor is described in the equipment and host armor sections. Mega damage capacity natural armor. Many biologically engineered beings such as biotic, saint, scarecrow, skin job, and war mouse, as well as supernatural beings and creatures of magic, have bodies or hides that are mega damage structures. In these cases, normal structural damage capacity weapons cannot harm the creature, and the thing is treated as if it were a living mega damage capacity structure. They, like any other mega damage capacity structure, are vulnerable to mega damage weapons, as well as magic and psionic attacks. Physical damage while inside mega damage capacity structures. Mega damage armor can only protect its wearer so much. There are a few instances where the character can suffer physical damage, physical structural damage capacity, and or damage to their hit points while inside mega damage structures. A character in body armor or host armor can also suffer impact damage from a fall of a great height, high-speed crashes, explosive concussions, and physical hammerings from giant robots or an attacker with a supernatural physical strength. Most body armor is carefully designed and padded so that armor absorbs the majority of impact damage. However, the body inside is still rattled and slammed around. In most cases, the physical damage one suffers is minimal and leads to nothing more than a few bruises. Impact damage rules applicable to body and power armor. Fall. 1 point of structural damage capacity or hit damage for every 10 feet, 3 meters of height from a fall. For host armor, it's 1 point of structural damage capacity or hit point damage for every 100 feet, 30.5 meters. High-speed crash. 1d4 dice roll damage points of structural damage capacity or hit point damage for every 10 miles per hour, 15 kilometers, of speed above 30 miles per hour, 48 kilometers. For host armor, that's 1 point of structural damage capacity or hit point damage for every 50 miles per hour, 80 kilometers. Impact from an explosion. 1 point of structural damage capacity or hit points for every 10 mega damage points from an explosion. For host armor, that's 1 point of structural damage capacity or hit point damage for every 50 mega damage from an explosion. Chance of being stunned. Optional. In each case there is a chance of being stunned. Reduce that chance by half for characters which are wearing host armor. Fall. 1 to 40% chance of being momentarily stunned. No attacks, -9 to strike, parry, dodge. For 1d4 melee from any fall above 100 feet, 30.5 meters. 1 to 79% chance of being stunned for 1d6 melee if the fall is 200 feet, 61 meters or higher. Crash. 1 to 30% chance of being stunned for 1d4 melee if impact is more than 50 miles per hour. Add 5% for every additional 10 miles, 16 kilometers, above 50 miles per hour. Explosion impact. There is a 1 to 60% chance of being stunned for 1d4 melees wherever hit by more than 40 mega damage capacities at one time. Also, the force of an attack, especially from missiles and railguns, may knock a character off his feet. Generally, this only happens when the individual is struck by 30 plus mega damage. Game masters should use common sense in deciding when to use this element in combat. Characters who are knocked off their feet lose one attack action, that melee. Immobilized. So it doesn't outright hurt a character. People in mega damage capacity body armor and host armor, as well as war mounts in particular, may find themselves in situations where they are trapped, pinned, stuck, mired down, blocked, tangled, tied up, trapped, overpowered, or otherwise immobilized or cornered. Psionics. Psionics note, psychic powers can often overcome or affect mega damage beings or characters inside mega damage capacity armor, but psychic abilities are not known to exist in the Splicers world dimension. Step 4. Pick an occupational character class and skills. A character's occupational character class determines what he is right now. Most characters in Splicers will be members of the Human Resistance, and 9 of 10 occupational character classes clearly originate from within the Resistance. Others, like Technojacker, may be an outsider from a retro village or other human community, and some may be rogue characters who have left the Resistance for one reason or another. Whatever their story, all humans, unless insane, see the machine and her legion of robots as a common enemy. Players should skim over the occupational character class descriptions, take note of the character's background and purpose, and range of available skills, equipment, and special abilities, and select the one they find most interesting, challenging, or appealing. Generally, most Splicers' occupational character classes are combat-based, designed to fight and destroy robots and rescue human beings. Available character classes in Splicers RPG: the Archangel, the Biotic, the Dreadguard, the Outrider, the Packmaster, the Roughneck, the Saint, the Scarecrow, the Skinjob, the Technojacker. Occupational character class requirements. Most occupational character classes will have a required minimal level in 2 or more attributes. Some occupational character classes have higher requirements than others, and generally reflect the physical or intellectual demands of that particular profession. To take that occupational character class, the character must meet those requirements. If the player is dead set on a particular character and is off only by 1 point or 2, the game master can allow the player to bump that attribute up to the minimum requirement to select that occupational character class, in the case of selecting that particular class. Experience. As a character grows in experience, so does the level of his skills and abilities. See the experience system for the details of occupational character class experience tables. Starting money, bioweapons, and equipment are specified in each occupational character class description. Multiple character classes or dual occupational character classes are not an option, as there needs to be complete specificity for character classes to work, given their requirements. In Splicers, there are 4 skills and skill selection. In Splicers, there are 4 skill categories: common skills, known to all characters; occupational character class skills, bundles or packages of skills which are related directly to one's occupation; elective skills, additional areas of knowledge; and secondary skills, which are self-taught skills. Everything one needs to know about skills is found in the skills section at the end of this book. Step 5. Picking an alignment. All players must choose an alignment for their character. This defines the character's attitudes and provides a moral center. There are 3 basic alignments: good, selfish, and evil. Alignments play a vital role in developing a character's personality and is a key element of role-playing. Whether we are consciously aware of it or not, every person has his or her own moral compass that guides him. Whether one calls it a code of ethics or morals, or justice and honor, or religious values, alignments function as what the character sees as right or wrong, good and evil, acceptable behavior and unacceptable. It is in this sense of right or wrong that helps build moral fiber, molds one's behaviors, and dictates how one acts and reacts when faced with a moral choice. Alignment should be seen as a guideline for each character that indicates how he or she is likely to react in a given situation. Try to have your character stay true to his alignment and act accordingly, but if it goes against the grain. In fact, battling to stay true to one's alignments replicates the conscience, and realistic moral decisions. Being emotionally torn to do the right thing and what feels good at the moment. An act of cruelty out of revenge or hate, for example, might sound good in the heat of the moment, but it is not the good or right thing to do. A player battling with such decisions for his character emulates the emotional gut process itself. When a player finds himself slipping or slip out of character, the game master should stop the game for a moment and, as the referee and director of the story, point out that the player's intended actions are going against his alignment. The game master should then warn that moving forward with that choice may cause the character to change their alignment, and there must be a reason for this. For example, a principled good character that acts out of hatred and deliberately tortures another being is likely to drop to the anarchist or even the miscreant evil alignment, depending on how cruel and vicious the act was or how much the character enjoyed it. And this must have a cause in the storyline. Similarly, a principled character who decides to steal or bend the law is likely to drop to the unprincipled alignment and to anarchist if he keeps stealing. Everyone makes a mistake from time to time, but repeated drops from alignment and or no remorse for a wrongdoing will definitely cause a quick change. Likewise, a miscreant evil character who learns the value of friendship and begins to act out of kindness, nobleness, and compassion, and with compassionate state of mind, or forsakes his villainous ways, may end up going to anarchist or unprincipled, and eventually even higher if he keeps up with this. Players in character and alignment can be a challenge, but it's always fun for a character to play within their alignment and to see what happens. No neutral alignment. There is no such thing as an absolute neutral alignment. A character with an absolute true neutral position could not make a decision, could not fight tyranny, could not hurt others, could not go adventuring, or take any action of any kind without somehow leaning toward good, evil, or self-gratification. It is humanly possible, and therefore it is humanly impossible in practice, and therefore is eliminated in the context of splicers. There are some philosophers out there who might disagree with this, but that's a topic for another forum and not a factor of the game. This is one of the few definitive unbending rules which practices itself in this game. Good alignments. Good aligned characters can be principled and scrupulous, and good aligned characters can be classified under principled and scrupulous, and are straight up heroes in the world. They generally place a high value on life and liberty, as well as on law and order. Just because a character is of good alignment, however, does not mean he's a saint or without bad habits. Good characters can be irritating, obnoxious, and arrogant, even prejudiced and full of irritating quirks. Likewise, they may find themselves stepping outside the boundaries of the law in their quest to combat a particular evil and injustice. And when push comes to shove, these characters can always be trusted to do the right thing, especially in life and death situations. Principled. The alignment of principled, which is of the form good. Principled characters are upright. Consider Boy Scout or do-gooder types who put others before themselves. This is the knight in shining armor with the highest regard for the lives and well-being of others. Freedom, truth, honor, and justice. Principled characters will always attempt to work within the framework of within the law and have a high regard and trust for authority, as well as for life and freedom. They are usually compassionate, merciful, cooperative, and sincere. A truly principled character will always strive to keep their word, avoid lies, never kill or attack an unarmed foe. This is with a sense of honor. Never harm an innocent, never torture for any reason, never kill for pleasure, always help others, always work within the law whenever possible, never break the law unless conditions are desperate. This means no breaking and entering, theft, torture, unprovoked assault, etc. Respecting authority, law, discipline, and honor. Working well in a group. Never take dirty money or ill-gotten valuables and goods. This means any property that belongs to criminals or villains. It matters not how the bad guy got property. The hero will not touch it if it is destitute. Never betray a friend. Scrupulous good. Characters regarded as of the good variety but are scrupulous are characters who value life and freedom above all else and who despise those who deprive others of them. This type of hero is typically portrayed as the cop who plays by his own rules, forced to work beyond the law for justice and retribution and for the greater good of the people. They are not vicious or vindictive characters. They are individuals driven by their sense of justice and right or wrong. These characters will attempt to work within the law whenever possible. A scrupulous character will keep his word to any other good person, lie only to people who are selfish or of selfish or evil alignments, never attack or kill an unarmed foe, never harm an innocent, never torture for pleasure, but may use muscle to extract information from criminals and evil characters, never kill for pleasure, will always attempt to bring the villain to justice alive no matter how vile he may find him, always try to help others, attempt to bend and occasionally break the law when deemed necessary. This means he may use strong arm techniques, harass, break, enter, steal, and so forth, but only against the bad guys. Distrust authority. Fears the law and government may not be effective weapons against certain injustices and crimes. However, he will not flagrantly disregard the law. Work with groups, but dislike confining laws and bureaucracy. Dislikes the confining laws and bureaucracy, the red tape that occurs there. Never takes dirty money or items. Never betrays a friend. Selfish alignments. Selfish characters, unprincipled and anarchists, are not necessarily evil, but they always have their own best interests at heart and their opinions in mind above all others. They are the mercenaries, rogues, vigilantes, and anti-heroes of the world. Unprincipled, of the selfish alignment. Unprincipled. This basically is a good person who tends to be selfish, greedy, and holds his personal freedom and welfare above almost everything else. He dislikes confining laws and self-discipline in many senses and distrusts authority. He views the law and government as well-intentioned but clumsy and ineffective. Keeps his best interest in mind. The character will always look out for himself. This character is also likely to take dirty money and items with the concept that it will help him in his crusade against evil. He may also destroy the property of known criminals. He will not deal in illegal wars, drugs, or take money from innocent or good people. The unprincipled character, who is selfish, may associate with both good and evil characters, and often as paid informants, spies, and stoolies. This is the noble scoundrel, the guy who is always looking for the best deals, is willing to associate with both evil and good characters, and is continually tempted to lie and cheat, and hates himself for being loyal at times, helping others, and ultimately doing the right thing. An unprincipled character will keep his word of honor, lie and cheat if necessary, especially to those of the anarchist and evil alignments. Not kill an unarmed foe, but will take advantage of one if it serves them enough. Never harm an innocent, though not use torture unless absolutely necessary. Never kill for pleasure, will attempt to bring the villain to justice alive and ruin him rather than simply kill him. Usually helps those in need. Rarely attempts to work entirely within the law, if a better way is seen. Blatantly breaks the law to achieve this, usually good-intentioned goals. Dislikes and distrusts authority, the law and bureaucracy, feels that they have been corrupted and abused, works with groups, especially if they serve his needs, is profitable or he is in the limelight, takes dirty money, never betrays a friend, has a high regard for life and freedom. Anarchist, of the selfish alignment, the category anarchist. This type of character likes to indulge himself in everything he wants. He is the insurgent, con artist, gambler, and uncommitted freebooter, who adventures because he enjoys the thrill, fame, and fortune it brings rather than any cause, like defending humanity or rebuilding the shattered country. This character will at least consider doing anything if the price is right or the challenge is alluring enough. Laws and rules infringe on personal freedom and were meant to be broken. He will not hesitate at using strong-arm techniques, breaking and entering, theft, harassment, destruction of private property, and so on. This can include acting as a judge, jury, and executioner at times. These characters are usually the daring anti-heroes who feel the end justifies the means. The anarchist-aligned person is always looking for the best deal and self-gratification. He will work with good, selfish, and evil characters to attain his goals. The anarchist is continually teetering between good and evil, rebelling against and bending the law to fit his own needs. Mercenaries and thieves often fall into this category. An anarchist character will keep his word, but only if it suits or pleases him. Lie and cheat if he feels it is necessary to further his goals. Not be likely to kill an unarmed foe, but certainly will knock out, attack, or beat up one. Never kill an innocent, although his rash and self-serving actions may injure or kill bystanders by accident. Use torture to extract information, but is not likely to do so for pleasure. Seldom kills for pleasure. Not likely to help someone without some ulterior motive, even if it's only to show off. Rarely works within the law unless it serves his purpose. Constantly breaks the law to achieve his goals. Has little respect for authority, the law, or self-discipline. Not work well within groups. Tends to be as he pleases, despite orders to the contrary. Will take dirty money without hesitation. Can possibly betray a friend if it suits him. Evil alignments. Now, evil characters, which are categorized as aberrant, miscreant, and diabolic, are not necessarily bent on universal genocide or dominating all other living creatures, nor are evil characters sadistic, cruel, ugly, or untrustworthy. Many evil characters may actually seem kind or likable. Evil alignment is a step beyond self-gratification of the selfish alignments. Evil characters can be ruthless individuals who are willing to say or do anything to achieve their goals. Most commonly, evil characters have goals that either entail making other people suffer or directly causing suffering as a side effect. The side effect the evil character knowingly and callously can disregard because of the benefits to themselves. Human life has little meaning to them, and friends tend to be, but not always, people to use and disregard when they are no longer of value. Evil-aligned characters do not automatically slay any good-aligned person just because of different ethics and philosophy. All the better to use good to achieve their own goals, and for always, the end justifies the means. Note, there is nothing wrong with playing a fictional evil character, although he may not survive too long if he betrays or harms too many people, nor is the character likely to be trusted or liked by any of his good teammates. However, this is role-playing, not reality, so you can play any type of character you might desire. Just continue to play in character always. That having been said, player characters in Splicer tend to be, or strive to be, brave, noble, and heroic. As for the machine, it is most definitely insane, with personalities that cover the gamut of good and evil. Speaking in general, all the drones and robots who hunt and kill humans should be considered evil. Even though robots do not have emotions and do not take any joy in slaughtering people by the millions, that's just what they are built and programmed to do, and they do it with relentless efficiency of a machine. From the people's point of view, robots and drones form diabolical, evil monsters. The aberrant, another form of evil. Aberrant. The cliché that there is no honor among thieves is false when dealing with the aberrant character. This is an individual who is driven to attain his goals through force, power, and intimidation. And yet the aberrant character stands apart from the norm with his own personal and twisted code of ethics. He expects loyalty from his minions, punishing disloyalty and treachery with swift, merciful death or banishment. An aberrant character will always keep his word of honor and uphold bargains. He will define his terms and live by them whether anyone else likes them or not. If an anti-hero, an aberrant alignment will completely disregard the law and deal with justice as he seems fit. He will never be cruel or vindictive, and will always be absolutely positive that the person is guilty before he deals out and brands his own form of justice. However, once he condemns a character, he will see to it that he is destroyed. Whether a villain or a corrupt extreme anti-hero, the aberrant character looks upon people without honor or a sense of loyalty as worthless and disgusting lowlifes. Do not think of an aberrant character as a misguided good guy. He or she will break all laws of impunity, harass their victims, destroy property, assault, blackmail, torture, and murder. Only their methods and degree of violence may vary. An aberrant character will, 1. Always keep his word of honor, at least to those he deems fit of worthy within his own ethics. 2. Lie and cheat to those who are not worthy of his respect, good, selfish, or evil. May or may not kill an unarmed foe. Never kill an innocent, particularly a child, but may harm, harass, or kidnap people. Never torture for pleasure, but will use it to extract information and intimidate others. Never kill for pleasure, but will always have a reason. May or may not help someone in need. Rarely attempts to work within the law. Breaks the law without hesitation at times. Have no use for the law or bureaucracy, but respects, honor, self-discipline, or concepts within their own structure of laws and order. Works with others to attain his goals. Usually takes dirty money, although his twisted code of ethics may prevent him from doing so in some instances. Never betrays a friend. Never. Miscreant evil. A form of evil. Miscreant. This self-serving, unscrupulous character is out only for himself. Power, glory, wealth, position, and anything that will make his life more comfortable or pleasurable is his goal. It doesn't matter who gets caught up in the middle, as long as he comes out smelling like a rose. The character will lie, cheat, hurt, and kill anyone to attain his personal goals. If a miscreant character becomes a vigilante, mercenary, or bounty hunter, it will be for some personal reason, a vendetta, money, glory, or a love for danger and challenge. This character is a savage misanthrope, misanthropic person out for himself. A miscreant character will not necessarily keep his word to anyone, lie and cheat indiscriminately, good, evil, selfish alike, to evil, good, evil, selfish alike. Kill an unarmed foe as readily as he would a potential threat or competition. Use or harm an innocent. Use torture for extracting information and pleasure. May kill for sheer pleasure. Feel no compulsion to help without some sort of tangible reward for himself. Have no defense to the law, but will work within the law if he must. Blatantly break the law for his own goals and pleasure. Dislike and distrust authority and law. Work with others if it helps him attain his personal goals. Will take dirty money, stolen goods, and illegal items, as well as steal valuables for himself whenever the opportunity arises. Betray a friend if it serves his needs. Have no respect or concern for the lives or welfare of others. Diabolical. A form of evil, diabolic evil. This is the category that most megalomaniacs, psychopaths, and violent and despicable characters can fall into. It is cruel, brutal killer who trusts no one and has no value for life other than his own. A diabolical character will crush anyone that gets in his way. The lowlife will lie, cheat, con, abuse, and kill anyone less powerful than he is. Aberrant characters find these dishonorable people more revolting than a good aligned character. A diabolical character can commit evil for the sake of committing evil. A diabolical character will rarely keep his word and has no honor, lie to and cheat to anyone, most certainly attack and kill an unarmed foe. Hurt and kill an innocent without a second thought and for pleasure. Use torture for pleasure and information regularly. Can kill for sheer pleasure. Be likely to help someone only on a whim or to set up them for some evil deed at a later time. Rarely attempts to work within the law. Blatantly breaks the law and mocks authority. Despises honor, authority, and self-discipline. Views someone with a sense of honor, a sense for honor and under authority as a weakness. Will not work well within a group, constantly disregarding orders and vying for power or command. Always takes dirty money, drugs, stolen goods, as well as steals from others. Betrays a friend without hesitation. After all, he can always find new ones. Associate mostly with other evil alignments. The experience system. The experience system is a realistic simulation for characters that grow and mature. I've known many brilliant people in my life, and some, despite their high IQs and raw natural talents, don't do anything with them. In the Palladium experience system, one's character tends to grow more quickly, skipping a few paragraphs over to an explanation. In the Palladium experience system, one's character tends to grow more quickly during the early stages of learning and experience, which is also true for life. At first, everything is new and exciting as one learns rapidly. However, with each new level of experience, attaining the next higher level becomes more complex and difficult. It takes more subtle practice, and most importantly, more time. That's why after 7th or 8th level, it may take a character a year or two to reach the next level and 2 more to attain the next. Typically, by 10th level, most player characters, already several years old, are not likely to advance much for several years, which is realistic also. Experience points and their applications. It is quite subjective. The Experience Points Awards Table, a guide to awarding experience points. 25 points, here is the Experience Award Table. 25 points for performing the right skill, successful or not, at the right time, if for the right reason at the right time. For mid to high level characters, 4th level and up, this might apply only to skills performed when they were most critical or done under stressful conditions. 25 points for a clever but futile idea. 50 to 100 points for a clever and useful idea or action. 100 points for a quick thinking idea or action that was helpful. 200 points for a critical plan or action that saves a character's own life or a few comrades. 400 to 1,000 points for a critical plan or action that saves the entire group or many innocent people within a campaign. 100 to 300 points for endangering. 400 to 1,000 points for a critical plan or action that saves the entire group or many innocent people. 100 or 300 points for endangering the character's own life, self-sacrifice to help or save others. 500 to 700 points for a genuine life and death self-sacrifice in a situation where the character's heroism seemed likely or almost certain to cost him his life. Leaping in front of an energy blast for someone else to save that person, even though the blast is likely to kill him, and still surviving or offering his or her life to save a group of innocent persons, and the exchange truly seems to be the death sentence with no apparent chance of escape, but then the character escapes. Odds of the character. 50 to 100 points for avoiding unnecessary violence in an intelligent manner, which shows the skill and cunning. 100 to 200 points for insightful and helpful deductive reasoning or observation. 25 to 50 points for a good use of judgment. 50 points for playing the character bonuses correctly. 50 to 100 points for a successful feat of daring or heroic action. 25 to 50 points for killing or subduing a minor menace. 75 to 100 points for killing or subduing a major menace. 150 to 400 points for killing and subduing a great menace.